Hello students, this is the second part of your history book chapter 4, the Mughal Empire. In this part we will read about Akbar and his policies. So after Humayun's death, his 13-year-old son Abu Ulfat Jalaluddin Muhammad Akbar, he was crowned the king. Bairam Khan was appointed as his regent. Soon after Akbar became the king, he defeated Hemu, who was a general of Sur dynasty, in the second battle of Panipat in 1556. Akbar soon grew impatient of Bairam Khan's domination. He ended the regency of Bairam Khan and took over the government. Akbar ruled efficiently for many years. He also built Fatehpur Sikri near Agra. Akbar conquered Gwalior, Ajmer and Jaunpur and annexed Malwa in 1560. He offered the hand of friendship to the Rajputs and promised to let them rule peacefully if they acknowledged Mughal authority. Those Rajput rulers who opposed him had to face his wrath. Akbar captured the fort of Chittor from Rana Uday Singh in 1568. In 1569 he captured Ranthambore. In 1576 he defeated Rana Pratap of Mewar in the Battle of Haldi Ghati. Akbar built a huge empire. He conquered Gujarat in the west and Bengal and part of Odisha in the east. Thus he won control over Gujarat's overseas trade with the Arabs and Europeans and Bengal's overseas trade with Southeast Asia and China. In the northwest he added Kashmir, Sindh, Kandahar and Kabul to his empire. In the Deccan, Berar, Khandes and parts of Ahmednagar came under his control. At the peak, Akbar's empire stretched from Kashmir in the north to river Godavari in the south and from Kandahar in the west to Bengal in the east. Akbar had a group of 9 extraordinary people in his court whom he called Navratna, 9 gems. Students, do you know their names? Their names were Abul Fazl, Faizi, Abdul Rahim Khani Khanan, Raja Birbal, Raja Todarmal, Raja Man Singh, Mian Tansen, Fakir Aziauddin and Mullado Piazza. Abu Fazl wrote Akbarnama, a 3-volume history of Akbar's reign. Akbarnama tells us about Akbar's reign and policies. The first volume dealt with Akbar's ancestors. The second volume recorded the events of Akbar's reign. The third volume is Aine Akbari, which has details of Akbar's administration. An important fact about Akbar, that Akbar wanted to learn about different religions. He built the Ibadat Khana or the hall of worship at Fatehpur Sikri, where he held debates and discussions with the teachers of all religions. Akbar's policies. Akbar gained the loyalty of the Rajputs and made them strong supporters of the Mughals. He did it in many ways. Akbar did not humiliate the Rajputs. Even after defeating them, he allowed most of the Rajput kings to continue ruling over their territories without any interference in their internal matters. Akbar gave high post to Rajputs in his court. Raja Man Singh and Raja Birbal, his 2 trusted officials, were Rajputs. Raja Todarmal was his finance minister. Akbar set up marriage alliance with Rajput families. He himself married to the Rajput princess Jodhabhai of Amber. His sons also took Rajput princesses as their wives. He gave complete religious freedom to these Rajput princesses. So this was the Rajput policy of Akbar, one of the Rajput policies of Akbar policies. Next is religious policies. Akbar knew that in India Hindus were a majority, and to establish a form of strong empire he had to win their faith. He treated all his subjects as equal. People were given the freedom to worship as they liked. He abolished the pilgrim tax and the jizya, which were taxes to be paid only by non-Muslims. Akbar abolished the practice of forcibly converting prisoners of war to Islam. Akbar allowed the Hindus to build temples. He got holy books of the Hindus translated into Persian. He even celebrated Hindu festivals like Holi, Diwali, Raksha Bandhan. Akbar mixed freely and equally with Hindus, Sufis and foreigners. He started a new sect, Din-e-Ilahi. Now what is Din-e-Ilahi? After Akbar interacted with people of different faiths, he realized that all the religions preached the message of love, peace and respect. He felt that if the common ideals of all the religions could be combined into one religion, it would benefit all the people. He suggested a religious path called Din-e-Ilahi. It was the religion of one God. He declared himself as the spiritual guide of the followers of this faith. Din-e-Ilahi showed a simple path to its followers. Akbar discouraged killing of animals, giving cruel punishments to criminals, and the custom of sati. Through this faith, as Sulekul or universal peace was an important principle of Din-e-Ilahi, is in many aspects this faith was quite similar to Asoka's Dhamma. Actually, Din-e-Ilahi was a code of moral conduct rather than a new religion, as it had no rituals, no sacred books or places of worship or priests. Since Akbar never forced anyone to follow it, very few people accepted it. Raja Birbal was one of those who accepted it. Ultimately, this religion faded out after Akbar. Akbar was not a very happy man in his personal life. He lost two of his sons to over-drinking while Prince Salim revolted against him. Akbar died in 1605 and was buried in his tomb in Sikandara, which is also a piece of fine architecture.